wanted to look at that. And this woman was an excellent yoga coach, but she was in a small apartment, so people were lying in doorways and and it was just breathing. It wasn't major, huge poses. Some, basic ones, the downward dog and lying flat, or pretty easy kinds of things. And on the way walking home, I thought, I can feel my body and be aware of my body as I'm walking along. And I had never had that conscious awareness of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of, yes, your body awareness, but also then you get an awareness of, what am I thinking right now? What am I feeling right now? And then you pass that on to, what am I doing right now? I'm sitting here pushing a piece of plastic, pretending they're shapes that look like birds, and they're ticked off at each other. And I've never played that. I can't quite imagine putting time into dealing with angry birds, but to be aware that, and I'm wasting time right now. I'm literally just pushing on a piece of plastic. That's the key, and that's the mindfulness, being aware these thoughts are there, but I'm just going to let them go. I don't need to pay attention to those right now. I need to pay attention to my breath, and we're learning how to do that control over our thoughts. And yeah, it's harder, takes more challenge, and oftentimes takes some help learning how to deal with the emotions, particularly the ones that are triggered out of the past. But it's possible to do, and that's worthwhile work to do.
So it all kind of starts with awareness. Like you talked about, there's interoceptive awareness, being aware. Like, some people don't even know, they're not even aware that they need to go pee, right? But understanding that, then you talk about, emotional or self-awareness. There's also an awareness outside that I'm spending more and more time with, is for people to realize is that the politicians, the media, and corporate America have cracked the code on your primitive brain, and so they're manipulating you. Social media, YouTube and stuff, they are engineered. They know exactly what to do that's going to stimulate your brain, where they say, they're taking over control of your attention, and you're surrendering your intentions. There's this meta-awareness to realize that you're being preyed on by supercomputers that are studying your behavior. It's really not a fair fight when you think about it. And the only way you can get out of it is to recognize is that there's supercomputers pointed at my brain trying to study it, and I'm not going to let that happen, because too often people are just surrendering themselves to this stuff.
Yeah. Well, it comes down for me to a line in a movie long, long ago, where the only way to win is not to play the game.
Yep. That's for war games.
Yes, there you go. And that's getting sucked into that game. I know if I watch part of a soccer game on YouTube, all of a sudden there are all these other suggestions of soccer things. And if I watch one or two of the other kinds that show up, now there's 10 of those instead of just 2 of them. And exactly, that's what's going to be interesting. We're aiming toward those things. And that brings up something I love, the name for it, screen sucking.
Yeah.
Where it sucks our attention, it sucks time, and that's where
sucks time, sucks intention. It's like you're just a vessel for other people to make money off of your brain. When you surrender yourself to that, you're basically giving up control of your mind, your attention, and your life when you really think about it. And more people are just like, they're oblivious. They're just letting that stuff happen and asking me for a tip, trick, or strategy. Yeah, you need to get away from it. You got to distance yourself from it.
And And I think I like the word surrender, because most of us don't like to surrender. You think, if I'm giving into that, I know this person is winning. Well, it's not this person, it's this computer.
Yep.
I'm surrendering my time instead of spending it on doing some relaxing things and then being able to get more sleep. I'm
Yep.
surrendering that ability to make those choices and I'm letting this computer do it.
So let's loop that back around. So when a person in the evening goes to their phone or video game or social media, they're effectively sometimes surrendering your attention, because I said at the beginning, what is your brain entertaining itself with at night that's keeping it from going to sleep? So you're surrendering yourself and letting this game or whoever's behind the game take control of your attention to take away your intention, so you go to sleep at night, then you wake up sleep deprived, and you're wondering kind of what's going on. It all starts not with getting out of bed. It all starts with you're surrendering your attention to these things. Yes. And if you don't take, there's no tip, trick, or strategy that I can coach anybody to do. If you don't make that conscious choice, there's a limit to how much anybody could help you.
Mm-hmm. And that's where it's how we think about it. Well, I deserve a break. This is just a little bit of time, and I need the reward. And it's yes, okay, it's fine to have a little bit of a reward, but not easy to then fall into. You just did an hour and a half instead of I was going to take 15 minutes. Well, there are other less non-productive things you can do that you get the reward, but they're not things that you just fall into and surrender.
So as a self-awareness, I talk about people like, are you taking a break or isn't it an escape?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you go to something, you take a break and you go back to what you were doing, okay, I that was a bit of a break, as long as it's not going too long. But all too often, you take a break and you never go back to it. That is an escape. That's not a break.
That's an escape from something you don't want to do, whether it's finish homework or you got to write some cards. I don't know when I last wrote a card to somebody. I sent them a text, maybe an email. But one of the things about that, it's very easy to then get into this trance of you're watching another video, you're sending another text, you're doing whatever. And we have so many reminders that are beeps and bops and all kinds of noises. Those are too easy to turn off, or tune out, I should say. And something I'd thought of recently was, okay, have a visual reminder. Put a lamp in the room on a timer, and that lamp turns off at 10:30 at night. Mm-hmm. That's something that grabs your attention, breaks you out of the trance.
So let's kind of talk about that, because there's two sides. There's what you described, but you and I, before we got on the phone, we were talking about TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And TikTok is designed to prey to your primitive brain. So when you're think of you're getting these little dopamine hits. When you're on these trance type things, on these digital means that are giving you a little bit of dopamine, your brain really, really feels good, and really you're oblivious. So these things start going off, and you start to ignore them, because at the end of the day, this feels really, really good for you, and you're going down that path. And even to some level, people will begin to ignore those reminders because they're getting that dopamine. They're getting that. It feels really, really good for them, and they don't want to escape that fun feeling for that more negative feeling. So it's 360. One is having the self-awareness not to get on it. And then number two is also limiting yourself with the self-awareness of these breaks and types of things, which goes back to the self-awareness. And because all this stuff feeds on itself, because at the end of the day, it all comes down to self-regulation and the awareness to be able to do something about it.
Yep, being aware of what we're doing, what we're thinking, how we're feeling, and that, the awareness is the first step. Awareness, boy, I'm wasting a lot of time doing this. And I think that's where some of there's some good technology out there, the feedback of there are apps you can set on your phone that every week or even every day, did you know you're spending this much time and your phone's been on that much. The sleep apps, I think, are great because, okay, I think I'm resting pretty well. Yeah, you're really only getting 4 hours of deep sleep and, okay, 2 of light sleep. And I know you need a balance of them, but that's only 6 hours of sleep.
So, yeah,
People get thinking, oh, no wonder I feel junk today.
You're bringing up something that's just brilliant, and I want to make this distinction because those apps are really good because they give you the raw data, right? Mm-hmm. But as they say, the shovel doesn't do the work. The app doesn't get you to sleep. It gives you the information. You have that awareness, and it's really, really important. I'm a huge believer, but realizes that if you get it, that's not going to do the work. You actually have to act on that.
No. But I think it does trigger that awareness in terms of, oh, I thought I was doing better than that, but I'm really not. Mm-hmm. And I've had a number of people say, okay, now the dopamine hit is increasing that deep sleep, increasing the time. It tells me I'm doing okay, or I'm meeting the bar and one thing and another. And I think that's the kind of feedback that's helpful.
It is.
And then you can get started in that thought path and getting the help when you have the awareness.
Yep.
And that's where the app helps with the awareness. Well, Jeff, we need to kind of wrap things up. This has been a fascinating discussion, and we've covered a whole lot of ground. And I think it comes down to awareness. If you have an awareness of how you're spending your time, awareness of your breathing in terms of mindfulness stuff, awareness of your body position, even if it's, okay, I haven't moved for 2.5 hours because I've been in this work kinds of stuff, being aware of how your body's feeling, it feels better and you're fresher when you got up and take a 10-minute walk. And you don't go to the refrigerator and pull out some cheesecake from last night. Mm-hmm. That awareness is the key.
And it is the key. I want to emphasize this because I mentioned it earlier. Again, if you say something is easy and you're not doing it, you're not giving it the respect that it deserves. And the thing that I'm grateful for the opportunity to come on, because I think we covered a lot of information, but there's a lot of stuff that's here. At the end of the day, managing ADHD is just difficult. It's just plain difficult. Yeah. I'm sorry to say it, but it's difficult. If you want to ignore it, you want to act like it's not there, I think that you're going to struggle with it. But if you say this is really, really difficult, it might actually be easier for you to manage than you thought.
Yeah, and you're getting the reward of, hey,
yep,
it's difficult, but I made some progress.
Yes.
It's been really helpful.
And I want to reiterate, it's a lot of work, but you can really live a fulfilling life if you take it seriously. And so, again, I hope that everybody got some awareness around this and to get like, hey, don't let your brain entertain itself tonight. Realize you're gravitating to junk food for that real sugar rush. Don't surrender yourself to the screens and let people take over your attention. Get the exercise by making it fun and managing yourself. Yeah. If you pay attention to those types of things and you say, listen, I'm there, I think that you can really live a very fulfilling life. Ignore this type of stuff and you're a slave to it.
Yep, making conscious choices. My guest today has been Jeff Copper, and his work is on DIG coaching, seeking the aha moment. And as you've been able to tell, Jeff has a way of looking, what's the background? It's not just do this. Jeff, it's a pleasure having you on the show, and I look forward to another conversation in the future.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, this has been David Pomeroy, your host on ADHD Focus, where I'm glad you've been here and listening, and I look forward to talking with you another time.